Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Down Over. You may not know this, but this is our second attempt at this show because YouTube is giving us color bars. We thought it was something on our end, but it was YouTube. I guess they may be having a streaming server issue right now. So you may or may not see color bars right now. We can't see it from where we are, but we know we're recording okay. So this is a recording, and everything should be working okay. I'm joined today by our co-host, good friend, Jeff Blanchard. Hey, Jeff.
Yes. How are you?
Pretty good. How does it feel? We practiced the first 20 minutes of the show, or 10 minutes.
That's right. It always feels strange when you come again because you don't want to say the same thing again.
No. But the good thing is within 5 minutes, we won't remember what we said the first thing. So that's good.
Yeah, I can.
Here we go. And we are back. Sorry about that, folks. If you were watching the stream, you probably didn't see much other than hear us. So hopefully right now you can actually see us, but no guarantee. We'll see what happens.
No, you can't. I'm just on the live stream. No, you can't. You can just hear us.
All right. So there's something definitely going on with
color paths
with YouTube, but we are actually live. We are recording at the same time. So in this case, we're kind of semi-dead on the live side, and we're recording perfectly on the record side. So we'll just upload the recording to YouTube a little bit later and to Vimeo, and you should be okay. So let's see, where are we? Where were we when we got so abruptly
what we first started off talking about was the Panasonic GH4 firmware 2 release that's been out there, and everybody seems to be doing little reviews on the autofocus. That was one of the major things, one of the things they said that fixed up, but there was a lot of other, I think, even better stuff. But by the looks of it, it hasn't done too much of an improvement. They did. Tony Northrup had a side by side. He did similar to you. We bought two of them, and he said, "Hey, whatever this comes to," he said, "they're still great, fantastic cameras to do what they do for the price on them."
Yeah,
he said, true. There's another camera, there's a Sony A9 that does perfect focus. He said, but that's about what's it? 3 times the price.
It's double. It's about double because it's 4,200. But then you have to buy another $350 for a battery grip. You're about $4,500 and no lenses.
And so he said, but he did the comparison, and it still was hunting for the focus. But personally, when you saw the earliest firmware and the secondary firmware, I actually quite like the first iteration seemed to be a bit better. But you can never tell with these situations when they're set up, because it seems to do, when you have problems with focus, it doesn't seem to do the same thing twice. It always seems to do different things. Depends what the camera it's looking at. And if you've got a different camera, it might think differently.
Oh, so the camera's sitting there going, focus, focus, focus. Oh, babe, what a nice looking babe. Oh, focus, focus, focus. Wait. Wow, look at her. Oh, she's cute. Oh, focus, focus, focus. I think that's actually what they programmed in there. You know how these Japanese
and the thing we were saying with the before, so with the contrast-based focusing, I still don't understand why it has so much of trouble, because he had it on face recognition.
It should have been perfectly on his face.
And he's taken up most of the shot, so it was very hard for him to move out of there. So even when he's doing that, you could see he's in his kitchen, and you can see in the corner of his head just the microwave oven, and it kept trying to focus in on that and going in and out, and really was distracting because the microwave had all those little thin lines on the top for the vent, and it was sort of really blurry, and you could just see it. It kept sort of glaring in your eyes when it kept trying to focus in on that. But I still don't think that's a terrible thing for a camera, because to me, autofocus is an assistant, and it doesn't know no matter how good the focusing is, they still do a bit of hunting. All of them do something, because it doesn't know exactly what you want most of the time. You still need to do the pull focus and manual focus.
Now, we were talking a little bit about the Canon dual pixel autofocus, and it's very clean at following and doing everything it's supposed to. It's actually very, very clean. The only thing there is that occasionally it will lose it, but not often. It's pretty, I'd say it's very good in terms of what it does. And yes, the Sony cameras have very good autofocus and follow focus, but you only get limited recording times, et cetera, et cetera. They have some issues. So it's hard to find that perfect camera, though I'd say Canon on the focus is pretty clean. It really begs the question, why do we really need DSLRs for everything?
You don't.
You don't. I mean, frankly, these camcorders that you and I don't know what you're on right now. Are you on a camcorder?
Yes, I'm on a Panasonic. Yes,
you're on the Panasonic camcorder, and that's a 3-chip camcorder, wasn't it?
No, it's even the one after that. After the 3 chips,
it was the one after. But it's a big chip.
Yeah.
And so that has really good focus. You can move around; it never misses you.
No, it never does.
And I'm in front of a Canon XA35. Again, it's got very good focus. It's pretty clean, and frankly, these cameras will even give you a little bit of bokeh and everything else, a little bit of blurred backgrounds. So they have good depth of field. They're not perfect, and they don't look as cinematic maybe as a DSLR. But on a show like this, or on most things, when you're doing an interview, you don't really need that cinematic look, and you can even get it if you just work a little bit at it. So you just go, we're making all this effort to try to get something that was never built to be a video camera work like a video camera.
And of course, as I said, a video camera is there, and it's meant to get pretty much everything in focus. You don't have that blurred background. That's what it's designed to, just so you can run and shoot, just pick up the camera and get the shot. Because it doesn't matter if it's not blurry in the background. You just want what you're pointing at to be in focus and as much as you can. Because when you do a video camera, you're usually not too sure. You've got the main thing, but you want everything else to look nice in that. And if you want to put a bit of thing blur in it, you can do later. But as I said, there's still people keep thinking that the video camera is dead, but there still is that use. Like you've got that Panasonic, the 4K one, about $600 or $700, wasn't it?
Well, when I got it, it was about $1,000. I think they're down to about 900 or 800 and something. It's a great little camera. The only thing it has not great with it is the controls. The controls are limited. You have basically 1 or 2 controls, and to do it by hand is a little. You're always shaking the image when you hit it by hand. You can't help it. So that's
this one I've got in the Panasonic. It's the same sort of thing. It's a great little camera. Horrible to operate manually if you wanted to do it. But the thing I use it for, it's just I've flipped open the viewfinder. It's on. It records. Shut it. It's closed. And I use it fully automatic. And that's what it's meant for. You just stick it on the ground, record something. I don't mess around with it. It does everything itself. So you really don't need a lot of control. But in a place like this where I've got lights on, I've got it in manual, but then I've set it and I don't need to fiddle around with it. So, but it works great in both ways. But as you said, the bigger ones like the XA35s, they've got a much better menu system with that little toggle joystick and that on there. But that's what they're meant to have better changes on the fly out there in the field.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're looking at the next cameras we get. We're probably going to get one DSLR, which is probably a Canon 7D Mark III, if they come out with it. And maybe one of those Canon XF 405s. The ones we talked about last week. They look beautiful. They're like the old cameras we used to use to do all the professional videos. And frankly, they had good video codecs. They're great for corporate video, great for news gathering, pretty much good for anything you need to move around with. Those cameras are light, they're powerful, and Canon makes good camcorders. So does Sony and so does Panasonic. But it's funny because if you look at a Panasonic camcorder right now, there is no difference between that and a GH5.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the GH5 has the same exact camcorder features. So you just go, huh? And they can record just like a camcorder to the to the end. There's no more card space. So you just go. So what is this big real reason? Everybody wants the cinema look, which is great, but you can get it with a camcorder. Some of them, and there are camcorders that have replaceable lenses. But on the whole, why spend so much? Most of the time, you don't need a blurry background, and you can always blur in post or do a green screen.
It's funny though. It's like everything, like you said, the cinema quality and like going back years ago, everybody wanted the best quality, no flares, and now they get things that make it. Now it does flares, and then cinema quality to me, all that is means it looks a bit rough, rather than really nice and clean. So,
well, what I find interesting is you buy lenses that say they have flare reduction or no flare at all. And then what do? You go into Photoshop to add the flare that you didn't take, and you just kind of go, oh.
And plus also as well, most of the times they probably might be good for a professional who's got to take a shot with the sun. But most people, they can make sure that the sun's in the right spot so they don't get that flare. But it's but these days, as I said, people like that. They like the flare. It just makes it look natural and not a set-up shot.
I love the flare. You like the flare? I don't know. I think you like the flare effect. I think it's very pretty.
Yeah, I like it. It looks really nice, and especially, and sometimes you put that in video when you're moving across, and it comes across. It can look really nice when it does that nice sort of flare on that lens. I reckon it looks really good. I was talking to somebody last night who's got the Canon 80D, like you've got, and you still don't have that. You sold it.
No, I have the Canon M5 now, which is similar.
The M5. But they had the 80D, and they went out with like the photography club that they do, and it was quite good what they did. They went out to a German Shepherd training day, and to show there was a bit more to teach them how to get subjects that are not going to stand still and wait for you to focus and wait for you to get you to do a little bit more things on the move and that. And I thought it still does a perfect job. I was just so taken with the pictures, but I must admit the person taking the pictures, she does a great job of taking the pictures, but the colors were just so vibrant, and the Shepherds just made me want to just go and pick one of them up, because she got a few learning puppies doing that, and I thought, I've got to get another Shepherd. They're just such a lovely dog.
Hey, by the way, on the eLearn chat show, I think in the next 2.5 weeks, I think we have Australia Week.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we have Helen Blunden. She's going to be on.
Yes.
And then we have, Doctor, and her name just slipped. It's an Italian name. She's going to be on too. So we're going to have two Aussies on the same week for eLearn chat. I was thinking if Leslie Price can't make it, maybe we could. I don't know if you could make it. It's during the week, but it would be fun to have It's Remember Australia Week here on eLearn chat.
That would be good. Yes, it is. And I must admit, I nearly missed today's show of Tech Down Over because I was busily watching Lectora Live, and I forgot. Hey, I've got to get rid of it because I was getting so immersed into the show.
I'm very curious about what John Blackman did on virtual reality for the for e-learning. I guess I'm not sure what his approach is, but that's going to be interesting.
I just love their product, because I know there's a lot of when you talk about e-learning products, but that one, they just seem to just go that little bit different, Lectora, and I just like that. And as I said, I love that collaboration, the online version. Like a lot of them, they have an online thing that's totally different and awkward to use, but like you said, if you've got a just half reasonable connection, you don't really notice a difference from the desktop on that. But I love the way Lectora handles video, and that's what we like to do. I just love with all the actions that you can do on video. It seems to be a bit more controllable than most of them. Yeah,
that's true. But so, have you decided on getting any new camera or getting anything different?
Well, I'm still tossing up. I really do want to get a GH5, but they said with it still being about $3,600, with say probably the 12 to 60 millimeter lens. Yeah, it still is a lot of investment when I've got.
It's a lot of money.
When I've still got the FZ1000, it will still give me 4K. Not as good as the GH5. And I've still got the XA10, which I know it's only 1080, but it's still a damn good 1080. And I thought, then I've still got the Osmo, which will that's a 4K camera that can still do the run and shoot type thing on there. And I've got even a mount on my bike, so I can put that on the bike. I was threatening to go out on that the other day, because now we're into spring, so it's a time to get out and do a little bit more.
So it sounds like you need one more camera just because you only have 4.
Oh, that's right.
So that way you can hold them all at the same time and take some really cool shots. Hey, did you ever see, we did this under Tech Down Over, we put out, I think it was 10 or 12 lens reviews with the Canon M5. Mm-hmm. And they were all with the autofocus, and it was pretty good. I mean, they came out, we used the Sigmas, we used the Canon lenses, we just used a combination of lenses, and the ADD really did a nice job with, I think we used about 8 lenses, something like that. I can't remember, maybe 10. And it did a great job on them. It's a good, for an M5, it's a small camera. I wish they came out with a mirrorless the size of the ADD or one of the, that I would buy. I would buy it in a second.
Because I love that form factor. It's not too big, it's not too small, but the ATD is just the right size, and they'll do such a good job on that. If they just did that in a mirrorless, I think they'd be on to a winner there with the same flip-out thing. I would go out and buy that tomorrow because I love the ATD, but I've got the 60, but I'm not going up to the 80 because it's quite similar, but the autofocus on it, and that's perfect. So if they
I'll tell you, Jeff, it's not that, it's pretty different. The ADD from the old 60D, it's a whole different world.
That's what I said. It's much better, but that's what I said. The ATD is so much better with the autofocus than the 60. But that's if they had that in a mirrorless, I think I would get that.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Because it's such a big difference, and I think mirrorless is the way it's going to go. It's like when people were saying, "Oh no, you've got to have the 35mm film camera. The digital will never work."
Yeah, they're wrong.
So now, and it's gone the other way now. No, mirrorless will never work. You've got to have a blah blah blah.
Right.
And then it will go to that other way now. I think it will shift over to that.
But let me ask you, Jeff. What do you think about this? Viewfinders versus electronic viewfinders.
Well, I like Viewfinder. I like the electronic viewfinders. The only thing I do like sometimes with the normal viewfinder is it doesn't matter what you're looking at. You can look through it, but then again, you're not seeing what you're doing. So you've still got to do what they call it. Chimping, is it, where you quickly keep looking down at your shots on there, but when you're doing the mirrorless, you know before you press the button that it's going to be horrible.
Yeah, see, to me, after having mirrorless cameras for now about 3 years, to me, a regular viewfinder is useless. It serves no purpose whatsoever because you don't know what you're getting when you do your changes. You have no idea as you change your aperture, change your shutter speed, change your ISO. You have no idea what it's doing. You have to still keep looking down at live view so you have at least an idea what just happened. And then you go back to your... And at night, it's totally useless, beyond useless. And you go, what's the purpose of it? So I don't understand why the manufacturers aren't giving you EVFs. And forget the old EVF. It's I mean, the full viewfinder, it's old. It's wrong. It doesn't do anything. It's sort of like giving you all the settings on top in an LCD. Oh, come on. Let's stop doing that. You don't need that anymore. Some of the cameras, I think, still do it, but it's a waste. Nobody looks at that. You're looking at your screen. It has all your settings. So these are things that people do to make you feel you're still in an old film camera. But you know what? It's been, 18, 20 years already that we're doing digital? It's getting old. It's getting old. It makes no sense to keep doing that.
And the EVFs these days are so perfect at looking through, because I remember, do you remember the first electronic viewfinders, the color ones that came out? They were horrible. They had color, but it was like you just weren't part of the picture looking into it. It was horrible to look at. Whereas now you look through it and it's you would think you're looking straight out through a normal viewfinder. It's perfectly clear in that, because they go to town and make it look good. In the early days, they just said, "Oh, we'll show you a picture. That's good enough." Yeah, they didn't make much quality in that. But now it's like my FZ 1000. As I said, when I'm looking through that, I don't even think about it now that I do. But when I go back to the Canon 60D, I forget about that, and I thought, I forgot. It's not necessary. I might have this set to the wrong thing. It can be horrible if you don't check it. So,
yeah, it's really interesting. Now you have an Osmo. from DJI, and the Osmo is cool. I have one too. Do you find you don't use it that much though?
I do, yes. I haven't been out much I haven't used anything much lately, but I haven't. But one of the things that came out after it, which I wish I'd waited a little bit for, was the Osmo for the phone. So you can put your phone onto it, because that's the only thing that takes me down with it, because I can't be bothered pairing the phone up to it to look through it so I can see it. But I quite often use the Osmo just by itself, just to point over the top and just carry that without the phone. Because I'm usually not aiming it at a particular thing. As long as it's pointing in that direction, that's good enough for usually what I'm going to film it for. Like if I want to do crowds or over the top and just things I could never get usually, that would be how I'd usually use it. Do you use yours? Or?
Not that much. I've used it at one of the Lectora shows we went to, and I think I'm going to take it with me to a DevLearn and maybe use that as the walk around camera, because that's a perfect walk around camera. It's focused. You don't walk that fast that you knock over because the phone is pretty tight, but it can also come off pretty easily. So the only part I find hard is getting the stuff off of it.
I did it first, but what I do, I just have I pop the card out, and just put it into an adapter and just stick it into the reader and do it that way.
Just easier that way.
Yeah, that's what I find. Just do it that way. And a good thing that you can do with it, which I don't think a lot of people do, is like stick it. It's awkward to put on a tripod, but you can do. But when you put it on a tripod, if you sit it there and then control it from your phone so you can have it like a pan, tilt, and zoom camera, because that would be good. You could do that. So if you've got that, when you put it in a particular area, you could pan around and just do different things while you sat down with the phone, and that you could use that for a little bit like that. So you can or have somebody carry it while you're walking using the phone. That'd be easier if somebody else is holding it.
That's true.
And you decide where you're going, left or right or something like that, or you walk around with it and they sit down or they walk with you and do that.
But if you think about it, that Osmo for the price, either whether you get the regular one or the one that's just for cell phones, it's a good deal. You can get the cell phone one for about $500, $590, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And the only good thing with that is because it saves you having to pair up the phone, because the phone's there. You don't have to pair it up because it's filming from the camera on the phone. So. Yeah, but one thing I did tell you what I did do this week. I have my little Tascam audio recorder, and I just think how good these are for recording qualities. I just want, how sometimes I have William the dog in the background, and sometimes he starts snoring and that. And so I thought, I wonder how much I snore at night. So I put the Tascam on and recorded it all night. And it was quite funny. I thought, who's snoring louder, the dog or me? Because it was funny but it picks up such a lot of noise. You just don't realise what goes on at night and how sensitive these things are. And it was picking things up in the street, in the middle of the night, where you hear a dog or something walking out in the street. And I thought, they do such a damn good quality, these things. They're just so underrated, I think, like that, and the zooms and all that. They're just such a great quality.
That's interesting. Yeah, I like the Osmo. I think it was a very clever type device, and the little camera they put on it isn't bad. It's really good, nice and clear, and none of the fisheye type thing. It's a perfect camera. And it still has the panoramic thing to take panoramic shots on there. That's part of the software. But I just think the quality of that, and even when I put it on the bicycle going on real rough surfaces, the way it does, it really, I'm just so amazed, like the noise you can hear on the camera from the bike, it makes a hell of a noise, the rattles, but on the shot you can't see anything different on that. I must admit, the other day I just
plugged it in to do a bit of a charging, and I had some film footage on that and the GH5 that I'd forgotten to take off that I did a few months ago, and I forgot how nice a job it did do. But that leads me to my next. I've still got to decide on a new purchase for a computer, but I'm still up in the air, and I just don't know what to do at the moment.
Okay, now hold on. I've been thinking about that for you, and I think. Okay, hold on. It's coming to me.
Channeling something.
Windows. Windows. You know, I think it's Windows. That must be it. Oh, wait. Expensive. Overpriced.
Apple.
Not worth it. Apple. Hey, I think I got it. It's Windows.
Well, I mean, I must admit the Windows ones definitely will be the cheaper option and can get a faster machine.
Oh, you'll get a way faster machine. You'll be video master. Except the only problem is you won't have Final Cut. But you know what?
That doesn't matter. I've got other ways to get around that.
But DaVinci Resolve and Vegas. Sony Vegas is now looking pretty good again on Windows. They did a good job.
As I said. Hey, people can make motion pictures out of the Windows versions of it. So,
yeah,
is it going to affect me? No, they can do that on the. It doesn't matter. It's just what you get used to. But it's, hey, I just don't know what to go to at the moment because I like the Mac. I still like the way it performs for me. But as I said, they are overpriced for really what they are. So.
Yeah. Now I'm really getting excited about making a new computer. But the chips aren't really easily accessible yet or available. And those are the new i9 chips. So from i7, we've jumped to i9.
Oh, okay.
I think they've got 10 cores minimum, and they go up from there. They are just much more efficient with memory usage. And you have to be careful because they're not all good for video or streaming. So some of the chips are more optimized for one thing. And then the video cards, same thing. Some of the video cards at the really high level aren't really always that good for video or gaming. They may be good for, let's say, architectural type renderings or CAD CAM, but they may not be good for just regular video editing or animations processing. So it's still new, and I think by the beginning of next year we should have everything resolved. But those machines are fast. They're really fast, and you know, it's all about speed when you get a computer because you don't want it to bog down, especially, you know, what we're doing right now doesn't look like much, but it takes a lot of firepower to get a clean stream. And we're streaming, we're recording, and we are exporting to the other machines, which are behind me over there. Actually, I'm not sure if you could see this. Let's see. So over here where you see a monitor with my hands pointing, that is where Jeff is. That's Jeff's location. We actually have him in a box. He's actually here right now. And then here we have some Skype machines that we use for Skype. And you know what? Speaking of Skype, Jeff, I talked to John Blackman today, and he was saying, like other people have told me, that the what's really good is Zoom. Have you ever played with Zoom?
What's?
It's like Skype.
Oh, no, I haven't heard of that.
But they said it has very good video, very good quality, and it's just a lot cleaner. He said it's a whole lot cleaner than Skype. And the other thing we're going to work with, we didn't try this week because Janessa was sick today, so we couldn't really get to that. But we were going to try doing the vMix call.
Yes, that'd be see how that goes.
And so you would be the first one we would try vMix call, or maybe Leslie Price, just to see, because you guys are the furthest away, and that's where we have the most Skype problems. And I think it's because going over the ocean with the satellites or underground cabling, it's just not as, I guess, weather and environment free. So it just seems to take a lot. There's always a little bit more of a lag in going to. That's the only reason we're not sending you the whole show back with all the audio. Because if you had that, then you could hear everything, including the music and everything else. But we can't, because when we do that, you saw it, we have anywhere from a 3 to 20 second latency.
And I know the same thing, like you said, with the more powerful machine. When I do the weekly catch up with the setup I've got, I can just do it. But if I put put a shot up there with a moving video on it, forget it.
Oh, really?
It goes staggers and staccatos on that but just two streams, that's fine. But when you put the video, that's sort of a third stream, and it's a bit much. But like was talking about the Macs before, and as I said, they've got a new one coming out at Christmas, which to me just seems a bit, the iMac Pro.
Yep.
Yeah, the iMac Pro, which that's going to have 18 cores and super duper fast.
But nobody bought the iMac Pro. It hasn't been a big seller.
It hasn't. No, the iMac Pro hasn't come out yet.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Mac Pro. I'm sorry, that's the Mac Pro. That has not been a big seller. It was a flop, basically.
But that's why they're doing the iMac Pro, because they're selling more of the iMacs.
All I know is this. Keep this in mind. This may be a differentiator for you. So take it with a grain of salt, but I think this is a key thing. On an iMac, when something breaks, your whole computer is down. And it is down for 2 to 4 weeks. So keep that in mind. That's another reason not to go with a Mac, especially if you have a lot of video or things you're doing all the time. If your screen goes out, you're out of screen. If this goes out, you're out the drives, everything. You're out on the whole Mac because it's all in one. And I'm not a big fan of all-in-ones because they do have that problem where anything goes bad, the whole thing has to go back. So at least with a Windows machine or even some of the laptops, they're much less dependent on one component or many components. You can... I've had 3 Macs go out on us, and every time it's been anywhere from a $1,200 to a $1,500 repair. That's a lot of money for stupid things. I mean, really stupid fixes, and they charge you a fortune.
Well, I've been fortunate that I haven't, in all my Macs, I've never had any one break, so I'm just lucky.
It may be you because we sometimes had 3 or 4 people using the same Macs at different times, and they don't treat them badly. It's just that the more you use it, the less I think it's going to last, because everything's in one place. There's a lot of heat, even though they do have good heat sinks. There's a lot of heat in terms of what's going on with the Mac. And I do like the iMacs. I think they're nice, but I'm not impressed. And again, you're going to pay that much money for a 28-inch or 27-inch screen when 32s are much more popular?
Well, the one I'm looking at, I know I'll be up in Australian dollars. I'm up for about 4,600 to update my Mac to
that's
do
a lot
that.
of money.
But that's the highest spec one.
Yeah.
And that'll. And one thing I like with the new ones that, the iMac Pro, that's the only thing that's got different to the other one that I would really kill for is 4 Thunderbolt ports, whereas these are only got 2. But you can't, like here, that's why I've got on this one, because I have to use this one, because my laptop, I can't use that as a streaming machine because I've only got 1 Thunderbolt port, and I need 2 to drive the camera and the other monitor. So
why don't you get one of those extensions or splitters?
It won't work. They don't have one in the Thunderbolt. You can do like I've got a daisy chain through a device.
Belkin has one. Belkin has one.
No, they don't. They have one that has a 2 Thunderbolt connection, but they use one of the Thunderbolts to connect to your computer. So you've already used it. Then there's only one left on the device, so they use the Thunderbolt port to connect to the computer, because that's the fastest thing. So there's no way of getting anything. You can't get a Thunderbolt hub. You can get a Thunderbolt hub that has one Thunderbolt and then all the USBs on it, but you can't get a hub with 4 Thunderbolts or the new USB-C.
There you go. There you go. You've just made your own case. You can't extend it at all.
No, that's not just Apple though. It's because others use Thunderbolt. You still can't get the extra Thunderbolt and the USB-C extended ones on there. So I don't know what to do if you want it more.
Anchor makes one that gives you, I think, an extra Thunderbolt plus 2 USB 3s. I think it gives you an extra Thunderbolt.
But most, as I said, nearly all of them use the Thunderbolt to connect to the computer,
right? Which
says, well, they have 2 ports. Yeah, well, now you've just cut yourself back down to 1 again. So,
well, the good thing is, though, Thunderbolt is serial, so you could technically connect a device with an extra Thunderbolt port. So now you have 2 devices through the same port.
And that's the thing that is correct. But like here, the only one I've got the Drobo that can do that.
Right.
So I've got that threaded through there to the audio, but nothing else. The monitor doesn't have a throughput. The video capture machine doesn't have a throughput.
Yep.
And most of the things that you do don't have. The only things that have throughput seem to be hard drives. And so I can connect another 5 hard drives through it, but that's about all I can do. So very strange.
Wow. Well, there we go, folks. Now you know what to buy. You don't get an Apple. You always get a Windows machine. That's just and Jeff just proved it. No, but
well, the thing is, I can tell that when I first would talk to you, Rick, I know you was definitely. I didn't even mention the word Apple because I know you hated them when I first talked to you.
I didn't hate them. I resent some of what they do.
But when I first met you, you didn't even think or say anything about Apple.
No.
As I said, you were a total Windows person, and I was really amazed when they turned you around and you got to use a few Macs because I thought you were a diehard Windows.
Yeah,
but
and I
liked
them.
Back to it.
And then they lost me with repair bills.
Yes, well, I can certainly see that. I don't think, like you said, for a work machine, for things that you're doing day in, day out, the Windows definitely is a much more viable option because you can throw one away and get another brand new one for the same price that you would get your Mac repaired by the sounds of it.
Seriously, it's true. And that's the part that's irritating. So, Apple's Apple. Let them do what they want. They love doing weird things, and good luck to them.
Have you got the new Note, the Samsung Note 8 yet? Have you picked one of them up?
That up?
You've still got the Galaxy 8, have you? So.
No, actually I don't. Let me show you what I did. Hold on. Okay, there we go. My Galaxy Note 8. I bought it. I got it last weekend. I forgot all about it.
I was going to say I couldn't.
Here's my pen. Now I can prove it. S Pen.
Oh, cool.
So Leslie took my 8 Plus.
Yeah,
I like this.
Good.
This is the Note's nice again. I really like it, and it works really well. It looks just like the 8 Plus, except it's a little wider, whereas this is 6.3 inches diagonal.
And the thing is, I like with them now, they've gone back to the upgradable memory you can put into it. They've got
you have a USB. You've got a micro SD card.
Yeah, micro SD.
I have 256 gigs in this with the micro SD.
Because they took that out of the Note. The latter one, the earlier Note, didn't they?
They did.
You couldn't upgrade it at all.
Well, I don't know if I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this. Let me switch to a shot and I'll show you. This is a shot I took yesterday in the office. I don't know if you can see that well. That's Janessa.
Yes.
But if you look at her phone, it's blurred.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I can't see too clearly through it, but I can see.
Maybe a little closer. Her phone is actually blurred. So this can do. They have two lenses in this. A zoom and a wide, and they can create a blur effect. And actually, maybe we'll make it bigger here. Look at her phone now; you can see it. So that's her phone. It's blurred, and yet she wasn't. She was sharp. I can show you her face. She's pretty sharp.
Yeah, that does look sharp, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They do a damn good camera on there, and what a lot of people are liking best with that, it's a totally flat unit. The camera doesn't poke out at the back. It's
actually,
totally
you're right.
flat.
I forgot about that. It doesn't really.
Yeah. No, and that's what they say. Some of the others poke out and wobble a bit, but that's it. One that's got totally flat.
Yeah.
And so you can lay it down, and the camera doesn't get in the way of anything. So I'm glad you got that. I thought I'd mention it. I thought it would be a miss if you hadn't have got that.
Yeah, I didn't want to let you down. I got it for you. You know that.
Oh, good. But I tell you what, though, it's still getting me again. If my phone goes funny, I might go again and get the Note 8 like I did the other one.
I'm not a big fan of Apple phones. I've had 4 iPhones. I'm done. There was nothing innovative, nothing that made me that excited about it. I find them just no big deal. I'm
a bit disappointed with their latest release, like the 8.
Yeah.
But I think the only reason they've done the 8 so people really get excited about the 10, because there's not much difference in the 8.
No, there isn't, is there? Yeah, it looks about the same.
And then the thing is with the 10, it's got a lesser screen than the Note 8. And Samsung are supplying the screens.
Yeah, guess who's giving them the screens? 80 million screens sold to Apple from Samsung.
But I mean, it would be Apple who decided to go for the lesser one. It's not them sort of deciding they don't want it. So, but it's just, and did you see on the Apple one that it's got the little lug in the top where all the cameras? It looks, I don't like that look whatsoever. But somebody was saying in one of the things, if before, that's one of the things they used to do. If they couldn't get something right, they just didn't release it. Right. But now they seem to release things and then, we'll fix it up later. We'll do that. So
they're okay.
Big change in Apple there anyway. But.
Well, Jeff, we are at the end of our time, even though we had about 10 minutes lost.
I think we did more than that.
We did about almost an hour.
Yeah, so we'll keep talking.
Well, we did about 50 minutes, I think. So that's not too bad. But anyway, we will see you all next week. And let's see if we have any new things or anything else going on. I'm not buying anything right now until there's something I want to buy. And nothing I want is out yet. So
I want to buy things, but I just don't want to spend the money.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
And summer's here, so it makes me, I might even do, because at winter I can delay purchases because I know it's winter, I don't want to go out. But when it's nice and sunny, you want to go out and take the cameras out, and you just makes you want to buy things to do that.
So anyway, well, have a great weekend. And for all you folks in the chat room or wherever you are, enjoy everything. Enjoy life. Have a good one. We will see you next week on Tech Down Over. Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Bye. Bye, Jeff.